All right, good afternoon, everybody. Jim here with J&C Homestead. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing out here in the back. This is what I call the back 40. It's not really 40 acres. I don't know where 40 came from, but I just call it that. Anyway, this is where the sheep go sometimes. Is what I'm doing is a lot of clearing. So I'm going to be planting pasture grass, which includes clover and some of the legumes like that. This used to be all covered with privet. You can see all those logs. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of chainsaw work, cutting trees down. I've had experience with that before in Northern California a little bit with fallen timber. But anyway, it's a lot of work. I've been cutting a lot of privet down, clearing that these trees here, trying to open it up for sunshine to come in so I can plant some pasture grass for the sheep. And I'm going to be dividing this actually in half with a 4-line tinsel wire all the way down. I'm not quite completed with this yet, but it's going to go all the way down to the end. And that way I can tap from that and create areas for where I could do rotational grazing. Okay, in this area here, I'm still working on this. This used to be a lot of privet, dense with privet and junk trees. And as you could see, I am now, let me zoom that in. I'm actually cutting all that down. I've got more to do. A lot of these junk trees, some of these pine trees I want to remove too. The only problem is that it's real close to the fence right there and the shelter. I got to be careful. Sometimes I'll use a pulley, cable chain and pulley to winch the tree to lean in one direction. That way I can cut and it'll fall in the direction that I want it to go. So the cables and the pulleys and the toe straps are very useful. All this brush, as you could see, I want to, I've been cutting it up in pieces where I can manhandle myself. Good exercises. I'm getting my aerobic weight training done with this by just moving this over. I want to stack this up. I'll be creating a burn pile eventually. A lot of work involved. Eventually I want all this cleared up, moved, so I can plant, pasture seed in here. But that's it. Let me walk around here. Hey, Rhode Island Red, how you doing? Earlier I did plant some rye, and it's coming up. Rye is kind of a cold tolerant grass. It doesn't last long in the summer. So in a week or two, I want to try to maybe wait until after frost. I'm going to be planting Kentucky 31, some fescue, and some clover, red clover. All right, this is going to be eventually cleared. This tree right here is kind of interesting. This is a little gully right here. It doesn't hold water, but whenever we get real heavy rains or few days of rain, there's a little stream that runs through here. But anyway, I think this was a hickory tree. I was out in the back one day and I heard some commotion going on and looked down, and I actually witnessed this tree coming down. As you can see, it kind of barber chaired right there. And that is a logger's nightmare when you're cutting a tree down. When you're cutting a tree down, if you don't cut the notch out just right, a lot of times I use a Humboldt notch. That's what I used to do, but I just use a general notch now, but if you don't do it just right, you can actually create a barber chair like that, and that'll all of a sudden just spring at you right there and knock you backwards, knock you into next week, as Greg Judy often says. But anyway, all this is going to be clear. It's going to take me some time, lots of burn piles. Some of these small trees, junk trees, I'm going to try to cut. I want to keep the bigger trees just for shade. And I think I've got some more either black walnut or hickory. I'm not sure. I'll have to wait until this summer comes where I could take a look at the leaves. But anyway, so far so good. I'm real happy with how things are going. Property goes all the way up to here. This fencing is actually a sheep and goat fencing. If you're going to have goats, especially goats, if you have goats, you're going to want fencing like this where they can't stick their heads through. Because when you use regular cattle panel or hog wire, they're going to stick their heads through, and if they have horns, they're going to get stuck, and you're going to have to take their head, just redo them, help them through it, and if you don't catch them in time, you might see some dead goats. So this is sheep and goat fencing. Got some barbed wire on the top. Is what I'm also going to do is now these posts, these corner posts, H-braces, these posts were actually pounded in. I didn't dig down in there with a postal digger. They were just literally pounded in. They're going to last for my lifetime anyway. But there's what I want to do too. It goes all the way down to the corner there. Let's see if I could zoom that in a little bit. That's about as zoomy as I can go. On the outside, I want to be putting in maybe about 8 inches from the bottom a couple strands of high tensile wire, just to create and then electrify that with a energizer that I've got in the workshop, and that way predators won't try to come in. If I get predators, they're going to come in and snoop around from the bottom, and if they touch that, they're gone. So I'll probably end up doing that because I don't have guardian livestock dogs like I would like to, but I've got neighbors over there. You can see that mobile home right there. And I know if I get livestock guardian dogs, they're going to be barking every time he steps out of the front door there. They're going to bark at him, and I just don't want that. And I don't really have an issue with predators anyway, thus far. But in order to keep them from coming, I know that predators would love to come in through here. I'm going to be putting up high tensile strength wire, maybe 2 strands down along the bottom, about 8 inches from the bottom, and it'll be hot, and that way any predator that tries to come, and I'm mainly concerned about neighborhood wild dogs, feral dogs. They're not really feral dogs, but they're dogs that are loose, and they form in a pack at night, and they play havoc on your chickens and other livestock. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the house and do some more chores. I've got plenty of brush I need to burn, like that little pile right there. I need to burn that, so I'll probably throw some diesel fuel on that and get that going. Anyway, until later.